Sorry, Prof, if I might just interject here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to keep the noise a little bit down. This is the SNB conference, and there seems to be a lot of noise going on at the back there. Could we just keep it down, please, so we can get through with this conference? Thank you very much. Do appreciate if we just keep it down. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think that thing that may drag everybody to the stock market at the end of the day is content. Because even if you don't sell the organization, you may have to outsource the content. And the moment you begin to outsource content, you are entering another model of production. And I think for me, the first question to ask is that as Nigerian broadcasters, what model of content are we looking at in the digital age? Take for example, in some other clients, you don't have producers. Stations don't employ producers anymore. They have what they call, say, commissioning editors. And then there's a production organization somewhere who does the content, and then there's an MOU between that organization and the station for you to produce that content. And you see some of that already happening with podcasting. The way podcasting is developing, it's probably going to get to a stage where even stations may not even have the capacity to meet the demand of content for the younger generation, especially when you look at what social media has taken away from everybody else. And that raises the first question I want to ask from the panelists here. And I think I should start from my immediate right there. What should be the average age of a content producer in radio and television? What should be the average age? Let me start from here.
Talking about age, we would have to look at the requirements in television production. It's not a job for a cock or just some sort of engagement that just anybody can be invited to do. It requires some level of maturity. As a young person at the age of 27,
Okay.
I found myself in the Nigerian Television Authority, and everything I thought was right wasn't right about broadcasting, about content creation.
Yeah.
And so I had to pass from one in-house grooming from one level to another at every stage and level of the production. So for someone to be a producer, he would have to be matured enough.
Okay.
And that maturity would not solely, or may not solely depend on his age.
Okay.
Because even people who are elders may come from an environment where they're not groomed enough to be reasonable.
Okay.
So age enough.
All right, I'll take it from there. At what age does an individual member of the audience become reasonable? I'll go there. Yes, sir. Yes. The word reasonable is very important now. What is reasonable? At what age would the audience or a member of the audience become reasonable, to quote him?
Well, if I may say this, I fail to see the significance of the age factor. I would rather concentrate on the knowledge. That is what is important, because as a regulator, we have had instances where people committed infractions, both from the producer, the presenter, and like my directors will tell you, when we hold these communal meetings and other engagements we hold, some students are not even aware of the code itself or the provisions in the code.
Great.
Content is produced for everyone, whether you're a kid, a teenager, an adult, various audiences. With the advent of digital talk about age, it's rather the audience that this curated content are targeted for. And if it's out there for revenue, which is in most cases, or if it's for news, verification, all of those come in with knowledge. I do not necessarily agree it has to do anything to do with age.
All right.
Yeah.
So, how then, before you pass on the mic, how then would you handle the question of gerontocracy in the production chain when it comes to content production? Gerontocracy. Very old producers who have to make content for younger people.
Okay.
Now, the point I'm trying to make is this. In other words, somebody just advocated that SNB should think of bringing in younger people. And again, if you do research, you will find out that the reason why a large percentage of the audience is drifting away from traditional media is that traditional broadcast media no longer caters to the interest of the younger population you find on social media. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So at what point does the age factor then play, if it does at all, in your submission?
In my submission, it still doesn't, right?
It still doesn't.
For me, it is the content strategy. And I'll give you some examples. Again, when we have meetings, generally this comes up even among members of SNB, to the fact that most of the advertising revenue is moving away from their platforms and going online. And the simple question is why? Why? Now, even as a broadcaster, if you go to the advertising agencies, you want to get, adverts to place on your content on all of that, they would ask you a question, a similar question that they ask the online skit makers, how many followers do you have? How many likes do you have? So the dynamics have changed. We cannot still rely on the dynamics that operates when we have traditional media in full glory. With the advent of with digital platforms, all those considerations have changed. Financing has changed. Where are the followers? You have to go the extra mile right now as a traditional broadcaster to prove that you have the eyeballs. But for the online space, at a click, they can see how many people, and they know where they want to have their targeted advertising placed. So to me, it still has nothing to do with age. I think it has to do with the strategy, your content, and those audience you're targeting.
Great. I want to move to the issue of content integrity. And I think the mic is in the right place now. When you talk about content, how do you then determine the question of integrity when that content is produced, either by yourself or when that content has been intervened with socially, via social media?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. First things first, research is key, and we need to continue to emphasize that. Professor Dachaba's team touched on it. If we do not do research, we will not know who we're speaking to. And the data that has come out has shown us that more young people are the drivers of social media content. Very few adults, looking at the percentages and the figure that is available, are in there. Some are in there for the most basic of reasons. So traditional broadcasters need to just know that how do we get whatever we're putting together for this set of people so that their eyeballs can catch it. If it's for TV, if it's for radio, their earlobes can also pick it. And the interesting thing about it is that if you do not do the research, you'll just be producing content blindly. And then the thing will fly in the air, you won't make money from it, and then you go around the mill. So social media is a tool that has come to stay, whether we like it or not. Like Dozie Okafor said of IPAM, he told us clearly that appointment viewing is
Don't worry, don't send us away, we'll soon wrap up. Okay.
So Dozie Okafor, MPAN told us that, look, if we wait for appointment viewing, we might wait forever. The older segment of the audience might be loyal to you and sit down in front of the TV or tune the radio. Like this morning, I have somebody who is a 63-year-old retiree, and when I went to the backyard of my apartment, he had tuned to the network radio station listening. But the younger people are on the go. So whatever you have for them in terms of content, get it ready, get it online. Some of them may meet you at the appointed time, but the fact is that they will, as they go, as they move. In terms of the credibility, which is the key aspect of the work I do, integrity of whatever you put out there is very important. And I devised in my own organization what I shared with my colleagues in our directorate. I said, look, you need to verify content. You validate it before you ventilate it. Prof gave his own, Professor party. Mine is just 3 V's, but still small boys coming from the bottom. So if we verify, we validate before we ventilate, it will help us to a large extent to be able to know whether what we are doing will be able to get the trust. Because there's a saying, it's an English saying, the more the merrier. And there's another English saying, too many cooks spoil the broth. Now, Dr. Salim told us, and I was surprised because I hadn't checked up in the last 4-6 months, that we have not less than, he worked in the NBC director level, 777 licensed radio and television and DTH stations. It goes to show that we are many, plurality of voices, but what's the quality? Where people don't fact check anymore, where people just throw things in the air and throw rejoinders, we're sorry about what we put on air, because proper fact checking, proper verification, validation before ventilation wasn't done. So we have work to do as an industry. And the more we keep telling ourselves, like Nancy said, the truth about what we need to do, the better for us. It might not just be on news and current